Well, boys, it turns out that I was actually right again. Now, if you guys don't know what I'm actually referring to, I've been doing this a lot, but I always attack really stupid theories that are in the community, or I also always attack dumb Resident Evil leaks, since most Resident Evil leaks have been incredibly false, right? I've been doing this for quite some time. A lot of people already know me for doing this, but it's funny because the recent video that I actually just posted literally yesterday, but this video was cooking up for about a week since I originally shot it when we actually got the new information about the demo last week. But it was funny because in that video, I basically trashed this new theory. And funny enough, today of all days, Capcom actually the Resident Evil 9 director went on an interview and basically addressed this really dumb theory. And he actually laughs about it. And the theory, of course, is that Lisa Trevor was supposed to be the new monster in Resident Evil 9. I find it hilarious because this is actually not the first time that this has happened. If you guys remember, if you guys have been a part of the channel since, when I covered RE4 Remake 2 years ago, there was another stupid theory that was going around during that time. And that theory was the Hookman theory, which, as you guys know, if you guys were there, I literally trashed because it was one of the stupidest theories I've ever heard when it comes to Resident Evil. And sure enough, literally like after I did that, Capcom, was asked in a Game Informer interview specifically about the Hookman, since it was getting a lot of popularity from a lot of people. And literally they were like, no, why would we do that? They're like, no, basically. Of course, I'm paraphrasing because it was like 2 years. I did cover it when it happened. So I think it's hilarious that every time I trash a theory, or whether it's a leak, a theory, Capcom always seems to have my back. So thank you, Capcom. I always appreciate that. And I know there's probably going to be people, we're going to look at the new information so you guys know 100% that what I'm saying is actually, is actually true. It's actually fact-based. But I'm sure there's going to be people in the comments that are going to be, smoking that copium and say, no, Capcom is lying. It is Lisa Trevor. It is. They're throwing us off. I don't think so, because as mentioned, Capcom has done this before. They've actually shut down theories that are very dumb, right? And they're gonna say like no, right? And they actually do apologize. He does apologize. So we're actually gonna look at this this new thing. I'm sorry, boys. I just think it's hilarious that this has happened like already like more than twice. So, anyways, let's just see it. This is the new Vice article, because the original article was actually written in Japanese, but of course you can find it by clicking this article. But anyways, it basically says Resident Evil Requiem monster isn't who you think it is. At Gamescom, players got their first look at Herring 20-minute demo. That's the demo that I basically went over last week, but I posted it yesterday. And today, according to director Koshi Nakanishi, however, got this completely wrong. In August 27th, that's the day the Capcom developer revealed that players might have been tricked into thinking it was Lisa Trevor. Actually, the voice for the current version of Lisa is not yet the final version. To be honest, it is a temporary sound based on Lisa's voice. Now, this was something that I actually kind of brought up in my video. I said that Capcom does have a habit of reusing assets, because there was a lot of people that were using a poisoning the well fallacy when addressing this. They were like, any fan that doesn't hear Lisa Trevor's voice isn't an actual fan. And it's like, no, that's not how you argue. And it's funny because, as mentioned, Capcom has reused a lot of sounds. Even in Outbreak, we were recently playing that, and one of the sounds for the computers in Outbreak, in specifically the Hive scenario, was actually the same sound for the radio in Dead Rising. So again, I did kind of explain that, but it's funny how now the director is like, no, it was a temporary sound based on Lisa's voice. It's not just the voice, but of course there are other things that are still in development, so we're updating various parts. So he's basically saying like, yeah, it was Lisa Trevor, but it's not Lisa Trevor. So yeah, Grace will not be tracking down Lisa Trevor. If you're fooled by the audio, you shouldn't feel too bad though, considering Nakanishi confirmed the monster was actually based on Lisa Trevor. Now, it's interesting that he says this because, as mentioned in my recent video, I literally stated this. I literally stated how dumb this theory was, that Lisa was actually going to be surviving for 60 years infected, and how that would be really tragic. I went over other arguments, but one of the points that I actually brought up is that it seems like what's happening here is that Resident Evil is just taking a bunch of inspiration from other BOWs that they've had. I mentioned the El Gigante. I've mentioned how it looks similar to the baby in House Beneviento, aka Resident Evil 8. I mentioned how it looks like Lisa Trevor, but that doesn't automatically mean that since those things look like those other creatures, or even like that other BOW that I forgot its name, that was in RE8, like the wolf-like kind of werewolf-looking monster, like the big one that Chris fights going into the village. I forgot the name of it. I'm gonna have to look that up. But just because it looks similar doesn't mean that it is it. You know what I mean? So that argument, it was incredibly dumb. I noticed a lot of fans were using that, so it's funny. Yeah, the director's like, no, I got to put a stop to this. Yeah, we got to mention it because people are getting way too hyped on this theory. But he says, I'm sorry that this has caused confusion among users. It's fine to use this as the headline of the article. Actually, it wasn't Lisa, and he laughs. So even he finds it very amusing, you know, because it is. It's a stupid fan theory. And as mentioned, this is something that I've been actually doing for quite some time. Capcom always seems to have my back. As mentioned, it's funny. But just so you guys know, there's actually a bunch of RE9 news. And funny enough, a lot of the RE9 news that actually just released actually confirms a lot of what I already basically theorized in my recent video. So if you guys want to stay up to date, make sure to subscribe and click this video if you guys want to see that video where I trashed that Lisa Trevor theory. And also I went over the demo gameplay. Anyways, I just wanted to shoot this video really quick for you guys, but thank you, Capcom. Thank you. Always having my back. Appreciate it. Appreciate it.